again for the grand finale of season 3 of Code Live with Google Cloud. I am thrilled to be here, thrilled even more to be joined by my co-host Mark Mandel.
Oh, is that me saying who I should be? Is that what's meant to? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
that was a very awkward segue on my half. Hi, I'm Mark Mandel. I take lead developer relations for gaming on Google Cloud. Thank you, Aaron, for having me. It's nice to be back together.
Absolutely, it's been a little while, and I think this is a great time to kind of take a bit of a recap. I
Yep.
am, of course, still the Java developer advocate, and we've had a good thing going here. We've had a good number of topics. We've had amazing hosts.
Yep.
And I think this is an opportunity for us to, we're looking at what we can do with 2 million tokens this season. That's been the theme the whole time.
Yep.
And for this episode, we were thinking it'd be fun to do a little bit of video understanding, to see what exactly 2 million tokens means in the context of video, how creative we can get with that 2 million threshold,
Yep.
and what happens when we go over it or when we need to kind of work around that limit. So that's what we're going to be exploring today, and I hope you're excited to learn along with us here.
Yes. Please feel free to drop stuff in the chat as well as we go along. More than happy to interact with you. So, Aaron, what video will we be working on?
Yes. So
our videos.
Yeah, our videos. We have a good library here, 3 seasons of content. So why not make use of it?
Yeah. So I actually pulled it all up. Here's. I mean, this is our last one, but this is this season. This is back when Code Assist was called Duet. So way back in time, where we first started. Yeah, I grabbed. We actually have it all in YouTube, and you actually can load stuff with YouTube. But for reasons, if we actually pop over here, I actually took the liberty of grabbing all our videos and chucking them all in a cloud storage bucket, so we have them all available to us there as well.
Very handy.
Awesome. All right. Where do we want to start? So I'm thinking. All right. So. Vertex AI, people who are familiar with Google Cloud, it's our platform for AI stuff. This is the Vertex AI Studio. There's a freeform environment. We can play around with stuff, so we can actually load videos into here and start playing with some prompts and just kind of seeing what we can get done. And then maybe we'll end up turning into code. We'll see how we go. I know, Aaron, you might end up pulling up some stuff as well and sharing some stuff, because some of these prompts, they take a while.
I absolutely will. Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll have a fun kind of pass off back and forth thing. And yeah, we're going to be reviewing a lot of concepts we learned earlier in the season.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to start by adding, that's what I want. I was like, I hit the wrong button. I was going to start by adding a media source, so we can just see how many tokens we're dealing with, just to get started. Now, interestingly, you can actually grab a YouTube video URL and plug that straight in. So I'll show you what that does, which is kind of interesting. Let's grab the 5th episode. I don't know. I'm picking one at random. And where are we? We're here. Now, if I insert media, we'll say from here.
And by the way, if you just use Gemini in the chat or anything like that, like gemini.google.com, its video understanding is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
I've asked it all the time when I don't quite want to watch a YouTube video. I'll just take it and say, Gemini, can you summarize this video? And that gives me enough of the interest kind of solved.
Oh, very cool. Yep. Give me the summary. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so if I insert that, we have it here. Now, this is one thing that it does in here that I'm not a huge fan of. So if you can actually use YouTube videos directly, and I'll actually point out, if we actually go look at the code, I'm not very good at Python, but you can actually pass Gemini the YouTube URL as well. You don't have to grab the video or anything like that. You can actually
you can treat it as if it was a Google Drive or Google Storage link.
Exactly. But yeah, the AI Studio doesn't give us how many tokens things are. You actually have to write a prompt and then run through it, which is not great.
Or at least it doesn't when you're dealing with YouTube videos. I thought that when you use storage or the actual file, it does. But
let's show you. That's you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. All right. So let's import from cloud storage. This is good. I put some other stuff up in here as well. You can see I've been playing with a bunch of AI stuff. So let's take the same one. We'll say episode 5, and we'll import that. And that will actually show us the number of tokens.
That is very handy.
Yeah, which is super handy. So if you've uploaded your videos up to YouTube and you have the local files handy, you may want to do it that way just so that you can see how many tokens you're playing with, just to make sure whatchamacallit, just you're getting over limits. These are, I think we usually run about an hour and a half, 2 hours of video, something like that.
Yeah, right around there. Cool. I'm going to say like anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes. And it does make some sense, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know any of the internals, but like, you can watch YouTube videos at all kinds of resolutions. It would make sense that it would kind of hold off on giving you the tokens in like a prefetched kind of way. But it is nice to not have to actually make the token call yourself when you're playing with those kinds of things, because you can select the model in a friendlier way and be able to kind of know what you're getting into before you fire off a bunch of requests.
Nice. Okay, so I will have one particular note, which I also realized as we were doing this the other day. Gemini 1.5 Flash, oops, it actually says it right here, is not going to work for here because it's got a 1 million context window. Right, we got 2 million contexts. It's the whole point of the video series. So we absolutely have to be over on Gemini Pro.
Absolutely.
I dropped the temperature just a touch because I like to. Because reasons. Makes me feel good. All right, we've got a big output token limit layout. Let's keep that. All right. What do we want to see? Do we want to just get like a summary or?
Yeah, I think honestly, getting a summary or
what
something,
are the
something
main
that's like
talking points of this video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you could do, what I like I think it's pretty nifty about the Freeform Studio. It offers you those like sample prompts. It will blow away the video that you have there, but if you click on like extract video chapters, it gives you a nice prompt to like chapterize a video.
Oh,
it's pretty creative.
All right, extract the video chapters of this video with timestamps and titles for each section. Cool. Let's just hit that button and see what it comes back with.
Yeah.
That'll probably take a while. So we might want to come back. Here's one we prepared earlier. No, we didn't prepare anything earlier.
No. But we could do like this is also another. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I could switch over to mine here and show you something. I've already
do it
here.
Yeah, go for it.
So what I had here was I wanted to get a sense of like what we've been talking about over the course of the whole series. So in the background, I'll probably be doing this for a bunch of the episode where I just ask it like, what are the 10 most mentioned words in this episode?
Yep.
And this is something that like you could discern from a transcript. You could like do it programmatically.
Yes.
Go and pull all your transcripts and you could run them through some processing and get the most mentioned words. But it is nice to be able to offload a bunch of complexity onto video understanding if you can, and just say, figure it out for me. I don't need a transcript, just you do it.
Yeah.
And I do believe this is the correct output. Duet would be the most mentioned word since it was called duet. And
that was the fifth one. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But then bucket, wouldn't have expected bucket to be number 5. And so what I'm going to do here actually is put these all together in a, I don't have my window share. I have just the.
Ooh, you know what you might want to do as well? Go like, what are the 10 most mentioned words in the episode and how many times, like get a count for each one.
Yes, include the frequency. Let me stop that and say, you can, this is another thing about these prompts. You can really structure them the way you want, and you can give it an example of how you want it to come out. So I can say like include the frequency of each word, structure it in JSON, and use word or use term for the word itself.
Hold on. I've forgotten. Hold on. I'm checking something is public.
And you could even have you could have it kind of implement speaker diarization if you want to say like how many times was each occurrence said by each person.
Yep. Oh, okay, cool. No, absolutely. Just double checking. So just for funsies, here we go. We'll switch back and forth. You can tell Gemini to return structured output. Like you don't have to be like, hey, give me JSON. Because I've definitely had it in the past where sometimes it comes back a little funky, or sometimes maybe like it's a non-deterministic thing, right? Like you can never be absolutely sure. Mm-hmm. There should be, I don't know. I know if you're looking at the code, for example, where are we? There's a way of doing it in like the actual code. Now, of course, I can't find it because I'm having a blank. But it's in there. I don't know if I can't remember. I thought I saw it as an option in here somewhere. Oh, output format. Ta-da! So you want to switch yours to JSON?
The JSON, yeah, that sounds great.
There we go. There we go. I'll let you have the stage again while that's. Oh, it finished.
Oh, nice. Yeah, just you keep the stage then. I'm running mine now.
Beautiful. So
interesting. So yeah, that is plain text, and it's really just timestamp title, timestamp title. I think that would be more useful in JSON, but that does work.
Yeah.
And some of the timestamps or some of the chapters are kind of like the file we were talking about.
That's fair enough.
I would not have broken it down like that, but
I would, but that's an interesting way of doing it. But I do want to do something a bit more visual as well, which is like count how many times each guest smiles and provide a breakdown by host name, host or guest.
I like that because that is a very manual, very human task normally.
All right, I'll run that in the background. All right, let's have a look at what you're up to.
And
if there's something fun that you're thinking about also in chat, or anyone who's watching, drop it in chat and let's see what's
yeah, please, we'll try it out. Mine's been running for a fair bit of time, and I really did. I may have overstuffed the prompt here with. I wanted to give me the frequency of each word, JSON structure, which is already covered in the output format.
Yeah.
Then I want to have frequency for the total number, but then I also want to know kind of diarize like who is speaking and who says that each word more.
Yep. Yep.
This was a feature, before I even joined Google. This was a feature in the speech to text APIs where you could take any recording and have it break down by speaker. So this has always been a good capability of like audio or multimedia understanding. So apparently I said like a lot more than you. And
that.
I also said,
oh, that's nice. I'm surprised by that. I feel like I say like a lot.
Yeah, we still have bucket number 5.
Do you want to make that a little bigger?
Yes, absolutely. I actually I want to put this into IntelliJ as well, because I'm just starting little scratch files for.
And also, I might save my prompts as well.
So we said. So apparently, like was more common than duet. Actually, we said like 18 times, and then duet 16.
Yeah. I
said controller 6 times. You didn't say it. We both said cloud a fair amount.
Huh. Bucket.
Yeah, I think this was an episode where we were working in Java, and I was doing. I think we were making the image bucket service, and it was a Spring Boot service, which explains why I was saying controller and service. So that checks out.
Oh, I got a response.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's have a look. Let's pop back over. So apparently, you smile more than I do.
Oh, fair enough.
Apparently, I'm a little surly.
I feel like, especially, when we're live, I do like to, I do kind of default to a smile. How did it quantify that though? 14 times. I wonder. We could have it actually give timestamps for that too.
And see whether they line up.
Yeah, well, we could check that. We could check its work. That would be an important part of using output like this. But
all the timestamps. Here we go. Where each guest smiles and also provide an aggregate count.
And while you're doing that, I'm just going to show how I'm organizing this output.
Yeah, do it.
So what I have is just like, I'm going to have
bigger, please.
Yes, much bigger. Font size. I am going to have like different scratch files for each kind of prompt that I offer. And we're going to do something cool with it at the end. Ideally, we'll like tweet out something visual made with all this data. So for
that sounds
good.
So and to the topic at hand too, that did not paste well.
No.
There we go. You could probably format it, be fine. what was I going to say? My brain was working. Oh yes, that is right. The whole, one of the ideas that we were talking about with this episode was like, what if you run out of room, right? Like we can't load every single video into here. But what we can do is break it down into manageable chunks, for example. We could possibly also do this like word process as, grab all the transcripts. Transcripts would be less tokens than the entire video. So if you're doing text processing, that could be one way of doing it. We could also do some like grouping of stuff in that way as well. So like looking at ways that where we can break down this problem into manageable chunks that we can then aggregate together again and see how we can put that together is kind of how we're doing some of that stuff.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also,
and you can't do comments in JSON. It's not a thing.
No, there's no valid way, but I want JSON. I want JSON inspection and formatting, but I want.
So the hack for this, you just write a top level field called _comment and then just put string in it, and then like.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, just make it part of the. Oh, you have to put it inside the object.
Inside the object. So then I'll need to have.
No. Put it right above line, like top level words. Part in there. There we go. But you need some brackets. You need some quotes around comment.
I'll need my words as well.
There we go.
And
comment, description, whatever you want to call it. Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's the hack. I had to do that the other day for Jason. I was like, what is the way to do it? And Stack Overflow later. I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's no
just
valid.
make it part of the object. It's just easier.
That is fair. And there's lots of.
You could call that like _prompt if you want to get real fancy.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, just call it just
prompt.
This is the prompts we used. Yeah. And these are the results we got.
Yes, and so I think I'm going to repeat this for each episode in the season at least, and then we'll have the top 10 most. Like I could pass that back into Duet or into Gemini and have it be the most used words for each speaker for each season, and then we can really get some insights out of it. And this is exactly how I would approach, like, when you're in between the idea and like the architecture phase of a project, and you want to understand kind of what your constraints will be for a model, for a problem. This is the best test bed that I've found to be able to like work with that. If something is more like programmatically intense, then I'll take it out. I'll leave the freeform editor and start just making requests in like a curl capacity or in like a local IDE capacity.
Yep.
But this is where I start. This is how I would think through a problem that I'm trying to use GenAI for.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. Because so much of it is just playing with language.
Yeah, and it allows me to insert media in like a really friendly way. So, it's kind of like a nice IDE for these kinds of use cases.
There we go. All right, so I actually stole something that you wrote specifically in there as well, and what I was doing.
Did you?
There's my dog, which was specifying exactly what I wanted in the output of the JSON response.
Right. And in turn, I stole that from when it has like suggested prompts at the bottom, and the chapters prompt like did some of that, not quite this specific. And I thought I would trip Gemini up. I thought it would give me something that wasn't quite what I wanted, but it really did get it. And first name, last name too. So,
I mean, similarly, there we go. That's what I'm trying to say. I can do very similar things where I can say, we got some responses. Oh, it's streaming some responses already. Oh, it's got my smiles. Are we going to go back and look at some videos and see if the timestamps are right? I think
we're going to have to. We're going to have to, at least on mute. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to check the math here.
I think that seems very reasonable. Am I smiling at this point?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it didn't use it didn't actually give me back into the. It used my name as the key, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. But I just want to make sure it's consistent between each run.
And so it doesn't have like an end time stamp for any of these smiles. It's like smile begins at 15. Smile
Here we go.
begins at 16:30.
Oh, true. Oh, it did it that way. So it did the aggregate as host. Oh, that's not bad. As the aggregate value of each. So use the host name. Sort of inferred some stuff, but that's break. Hopefully that is what you're looking for. All right, let's go. Hold on, wait. This doesn't make sense. Hold on. I smiled 124 times. You smiled 7 times, but that's not the same. That's not the same number we got before.
No, this is a different. This seems like a different output. It's like I was trying to decide if I was smiling for more time, and that's why it said I was smiling more. But no, it doesn't seem to be.
That is vastly different than what we had before. So that is kind of concerning.
That is strange. Well, I still think maybe we should go and check out the videos and see if any of those timestamps are on the money.
All right, well, let's have a look. All right, so 15 on. Wait, which one? Which one did I load up again? This is. The video is right here. Right.
It does give you a video player. I've never used it though, so we'll see how it goes.
That's not useful. Okay. Which episode was it? Code with Duet ALF. I think it was 5. I'm pretty sure it was 5.
You did
fairly sure.
Yeah.
I think it was 5.
And fortunately, YouTube is also a great video player, so we can fall back on that.
It's true. That's not what I wanted. Hit. I was trying to turn that off. All right, at point 15. That's a smile. I'm smiling. Okay. You're not.
Okay. So there's something to this.
There we go. I'm smiling. And then at 17. Oh, that's too far. I'm still smiling at 20. That's a smile. You know what? I think you're smiling too.
I think I am.
Does and it honestly, also recognize it? 15, 16. There you go.
This is another thing where we're kind of introducing very like oddly textured video data to it, because when you're doing video understanding like this, resolution and frame rate of the video will have a significant impact on the correct.
Oh, so you know what's interesting as well, because like when we get to this point, we're a lot smaller. Like my face probably goes behind like a little interstitial or whatever it's called, the little doobie at the bottom of our names and stuff.
Yeah. So that would make it a lot more challenging, and especially I assume that in episodes with more hosts, I would assume that the responses will be less accurate for video understanding, because on average each video feed is smaller.
Okay. Oh, I just thought of something really fun, actually, more than anything else. Okay, smiles is not bad, but I get at your point. What if we ask it about the code we're seeing on screen?
That is much more regular. I like that.
Right.
And it seemed to be able to pick out file names earlier.
So I am wondering. So I was wondering about that too. So that's quite interesting, right? Like when we did that before, when we did titles, it was talking about file names.
Yeah.
Did we say the file name out loud, or is it picking it up from what's on screen? Or
we certainly
probably
said
both.
We certainly said file names out loud, but I don't think we ever would have said the whole path, because those were like absolute paths.
You're right.
So it must at least be grabbing it from something on screen.
All right. So okay.
Possibly, I'm guessing terminal output would be the most likely to get that many absolute paths.
Let me save this just so I have it as another thing. The save button allows you to, for those who are interested, you can save it, which means you have a history. Where's my history? Series breakdown. So you can actually have a history of it over time. So if you want to go back to old prompts or something like that, and you're playing, and you're like, oh god, what was that prompt I used before? It was really nice. Or a setup I had before with certain things. Then you can do that, which is super nice. But I'm gonna just save that. So okay. Oops.
Especially useful when you're trying to tweak
a list of all the files we edited.
Yeah, I would especially use the save functionality when you're trying to tweak like hyperparameters, when you're trying to like test different regions, like any of the stuff on the right hand side. Fantastic.
I'm just going to do plain text because I'm just curious to see what it gives me back.
Yeah, fair enough. On my end, let
Go
me
for
actually
it.
switch back. I am still just working through. I want to get to a point where I have a rundown of each of the episodes. So I'm actually moving on to episode 3 now.
Okay.
I'm doing the cloud storage uploads each
Are
time.
you sure you want to do this hand by hand? You don't necessarily want to do it with some code.
I could do it with code, but I feel like this is just like an interim step to a larger project, and I think I'm going to do the larger project part with code.
Okay. Okay.
So, well, if I need to, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's not that many episodes. I mean, you could do it. You could do it like for a singular season and just be like, cool,
Yeah.
done, sweet. I
If
feel
it
good
was-
about that.
if it was 12 episodes, I'd be doing it with code.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so far I have the first 2 episodes. Another thing that I noticed is the output was slightly different. Um, it gave me the same structure as far as the data, but in the previous response, it gave me the wrapping object with top 10 words as the list.
Yeah.
The second time, it just gave me the list.
Oh.
So
So we may need to be specific about exactly what we want to make sure that that stays consistent.
possibly.
Yeah.
I think providing example objects, in my experience, has been very, very helpful to like kind of normalize what you're getting out of it.
Yep.
But not always practical. Sometimes you are hoping that Gemini will provide more of the structure of what works, and that's okay too. But yeah, in the second episode, I think this was an episode that you were driving, and the most used word was cluster. You said it more, or no, I said it more than you did.
Oh, there we go.
And then I think we were working on Agonis here.
That makes sense.
Yes.
I'm also just double checking the math as we go through. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, just making sure.
It was a connection pooling bug that we were fixing live, I believe.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Going was our 10th most used word. You said going 8 times. Okay.
So one thing I was out of just as an interesting thing as well, maybe I was like, I hope we aren't going over any quotas.
We
That's
will see.
but no, so far we're looking okay.
Oh, good. You can see the quota dashboard. Okay.
Yeah, problem with the quota dashboard. I like to have a look just to be sure. We're fine. We're totally fine.
Yeah. I wonder, like the current. I thought there would be an AI platform quota that we'd be approaching. We're at 1%.
We're getting a little bit of Vertex. Yeah.
We haven't deployed any models, so
It's true, but we are doing processing.
I don't know which that would fall under. Maybe that is.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're fine. So that's good.
It would let us know if we weren't. So
exactly. Oh, here we go. Ooh, look at that. I don't know. Why did it give me markdown check boxes?
Was that a plain text request?
It was.
Sometimes it'll give you a strange plain text.
I mean, it gave me markdown but that's markdown for like a checkbox.
Yeah. If you turn on markdown, does it appear nice and pretty?
No, it doesn't support checkbox format for it, which is fine. But that's creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good.
It is kind of like odd that like it seems like Gemini prefers structure in almost all of its responses.
Yeah, it's of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that a lot, and where I won't even ask for it, and it'll offer me a markdown response, or it'll offer a file name. It'll say like, here's a YAML file, and like chat windows are great at interpreting that, so it is useful.
Okay. Yeah, so this is okay. So like same problem as we had before, right? Like if you wanted to process all the videos and you wanted a list of all the files that are in all the videos, you could just go through them one by one, and then you'd be fine. Yeah, so I don't think we've actually hit any major problems where if like you hit a context window limit here, you're gonna have a problem. I haven't hit any videos. I haven't had any of our videos. Let's actually make that clear. That are too long for what we have.
No, it seems like at our, with what we're capturing, which is like 1080p stream, 90 minutes to 120 minutes, you're right in that 1.5 to 2 million range.
Yeah.
Possibly. So you can use Pro. If you wanted to use Flash, you'd be over. You'd have to drop the FPS or something like that, which we could, if you're interested in seeing that, we could throw one of these episodes in FFmpeg and kind of slow it down and kind of play with that resolution.
Just see what it does to tokens. Yeah.
but
Only
only if
databases. I don't know.
the
I'm
audience.
picking a random databases one. I'll run it again.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got one's too big.
Okay.
We've got one that's too big. So actually, what happens? Just out of real curiosity.
Yeah. We have seen something like this. But yeah, I think this might be the episode where I'm guessing, but this might be the episode where it was 4 hosts and we were playing D&D with Gemini as the DM.
No, I picked one of the database ones.
Oh, okay. I thought that was.
I picked one of the database ones.
Season 2, episode 4. Okay, then no. Yeah.
I don't know how I know which. It really should tell. You should be able to go back and find out which media you inserted.
It should show you the full name or something like that.
Yeah, you should be able like a tooltip or something. I picked one of these. Oh God, I don't know which one it was. It's all right. We can always find out. It's easy enough.
Yeah.
But I am very curious to see if it's just going to fall over or is it like magically processing. Gemini now with burst capabilities, not a real product. Making that up on the spot. Just want to be super clear about that.
That is fair. Yeah, no, honestly, I think it'll give like a pretty good response. I've never seen it just like blow up.
Or does it stream all the video in and then kind of just stop at a point and go, oh, I can't do any more right now. Sorry.
I believe so. Yeah, it gives you something appropriate like a 400, 403. There's a few, that you could interpret as an appropriate response for you put too much data in here. But yeah, it's I think it's interesting that it tries to process it.
It processed it though.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that happened. That's awesome. That it processed 2.2
So, I don't know if this is how this works, and this is a really interesting question. To solve this problem specifically, you don't have to keep it in memory, if that makes sense, right? Like if you were writing a piece of code to do this, you could literally go frame by frame, process a frame, do the text input, maybe do a comparison between this frame and the last frame or something. But like you don't have to keep the entire video in memory to understand the whole thing. So does Gemini do that?
You're absolutely right that you wouldn't have to to solve it. I don't know if Gemini's doing that. It's outputs. I don't know if it can stream understanding like that.
Because anything that had to do with the transcript or anything like that, it could just like scoop its way across the front.
Yeah, and that's another aspect that I wanted to touch on. With what I'm doing, you could absolutely do it with the transcript.
Yeah.
There are many ways to kind of work on problems like this, but with video understanding.
Is there a question we could ask where it would need to keep in mind what happened at the beginning all the way to the end? But even then, it would just have to keep the result or potential results.
What I do know is that, I don't know, actually. I don't know if I know that. I was wondering if it's because the response is so short, maybe that's why it fit in. Like maybe there was a bit of a extra wiggle room that it used up to process.
There's always the possibility that token count is not 100% accurate, I guess.
That's true. I think it is like a best effort.
Especially as it comes up right away.
But I believe it is deterministic. It'll give you the same count.
It'll give you the same token, yeah. So that's first one's 17. All right, I'm gonna work out which one it is. How's your stuff going? Whoop, that is not what I wanted.
It's going good. I'm on the second last one here, and
if you so the third one. Third one. Okay, so it's the third one. You know what? When in doubt, ask Gemini.
How are you? Yeah, true.
No,
I like that you left the video file in here.
Yes, because the context is key. That makes sense.
Yeah, this video. Why are you
this video? Like what? Yeah, what? Huh? You tell me what you're doing.
That is fantastic. Another aspect of this approach that I like, because you may have wondered why am I doing this like with video understanding rather than with transcripts, and we could do that, but it allowed us to switch hosts without any change to this solution. right?
Mm.
So no matter who is on screen, this still works. So, you know, meeting transcripts, court stenography, that would all work. Um, does require a little bit more thought about like how we're going to combine them, but
Yeah.
it is convenient for like mass processing.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially if like I'd say for use cases like thinking about when I would choose this over like a more traditional non-AI programmatic approach, I'd say when I have really coarse data. That's when I would try to fit it into a
Mm.
pipeline like this because it's going to be much more costly for me in terms of like complexity and figuring out how to do it
Yep.
to build a traditional code pipeline to process this kind of data than a GenAI pipeline with just a video understanding API
Yep.
or model on the other end.
And I'm gonna say like the number of words that we say per episode is not exactly critical path for anything. So if it's a little off, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's good like it's good in terms of like giving you a ballpark or giving you an idea, giving you the trend of what we're saying the most.
I wanna just tell you. Can I show you what Gemini just said back to me?
Yeah, please.
So this video was transcribed using a combination of automated speech to text and manual editing to ensure manual editing. I don't know where the manual editing came from, but I guess Gemini considers itself a manual editor.
Wow.
And then transcript was segmented. Interesting keywords. The chunks are reassembled in a coherent narrative.
Interesting. Those are some very fast manual editors if it's a person. But yeah, I'm guessing that Gemini is counting its own edits as manual editing. That's interesting. Yeah.
I do wish that I could. I don't. Yeah, I mean, from Gemini. Ooh, let me think about this for a sec. I'm wondering if can I extract some stuff out of this. I don't know if there's necessarily a diagram or something fun in here.
I would actually. It's funny that you say diagram. Wouldn't it be interesting to see if we can generate a diagram with some of this data?
I think we should be able to.
I don't know how it'll do with like words and data like that, but
I mean, the thing that would be really handy is if Gemini could create that image for us and like do that to the thing. But there are formats like things like dots where we can actually like say, hey, can you put this in dots format so that we can have like a flow diagram or something like that. That could be interesting. Is there like a what do I want to do as a flow diagram? Ooh. All right. I have this weird idea. So in a previous episode, I'm going to pull it up. Y'all did D&D.
yes.
So
I think that was season 3, episode 4.
In dots format, output a diagram of how each character in the game interacted which I was going to say. Something like that.
Okay, yeah. Which characters in the game interact with which characters? Now that's interesting. Because in the episode, I like that. I think we should absolutely answer that. In the episode, Mofi suggested, or somebody asked in the audience, how could you turn this into like a more reliable kind of, like how could you have it manage more of the game? And Mofi's response was like, we'd need to manage the relationships like as like in a database.
Yeah. Here we go.
And the idea of using this video understanding to populate that kind of database is really interesting. Like Gemini is there taking notes and then populating a database of the interactions as you go. That would be a really interesting way to play D&D.
Yeah, because we could probably also spit this out as some sort of JSON format or something, but it'd be really nice if we could just, I'm very curious to see if it understands dots. If people haven't seen dots, dots is this. It's a text-based format for being able to essentially generate diagrams.
I love that. We should try that. Actually, I think I'm going to try that with the output of these 6 prompts that I've done in the background.
Okay. So this thing doesn't like the fact that I've zoomed in on it, but all right, we will see. All right, so that's running in the background. See how that goes.
And so I have the last response here for the last episode with this.
Oh yeah, flip over, go for it.
And so once we have that, we have all 6 episodes in my Scratch files here. So like is the top word for season 1, episode 1, and then cluster.
Makes sense.
And then image.
Right.
And then image again.
Image again. Okay.
I think these 2 were both image bucket episodes.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah.
And then this one, it was file and then local. Interesting. And then episode 6, we'll see, but that's the last one. And once we have all these together, I guess I'll just ask it. We could do the prompt crafting. Now we could say, let me see, generate a dot. Is it just DOT diagram?
Yeah.
Demonstrating or depicting the most used. Actually, this is more of a sequence diagram, right? Or is it just for any kind of visual media?
I mean, Harry. Oh wait, would you? Okay, so I don't know what dots can do. Can dots do like word sizes? Like a word, like basically do a word. Can I read it? Word cloud. Word cloud is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Can dots do a word cloud?
Let's see. Depicting a word cloud. For each speaker.
There are like a ton of websites that will 100% generate
word clouds, yeah.
Word clouds as well.
Yeah, but I like the idea of having Gemini generate a text response that translates to visual media. That feels perfect. That feels like a very multimedia artifact to generate.
Strangely enough, I have a bachelor in multimedia because that was a buzzword at the time, and that's how Australia does. Yeah, we don't do majors and minors; we do just specialty subjects, and like that's what you do.
Interesting. A bachelor's in multimedia.
Bachelor multimedia. Yeah. Good old late 90s. Oh yeah.
I just studied plain old computer science, so nothing, no interesting buzzwords, keywords in mine.
Now, okay. So I have a result for us
Please,
as well, but I want to ask you a question because I want to check in on something. So, DotGraph shows interactions with the characters in the games. We have you, Kazlan, you. So I actually plug that in. We get something that is accurate. Like we get a graph. Were there non-player characters, I assume, that were also in the game that you probably interacted with, right?
There was a cook at the inn.
All right. So that's not there. Characters. Make sure to also include non-player characters in this diagram.
Maybe try to include the characters' names too. Let's see if we can do that.
Yeah, with their names. But I'm actually impressed that it spat out dots. So
honestly, that is pretty accurate. I think it's pulling that from the name text we have on the actual.
On the screen. Oh, that's hilarious. So I would show up as like Mark Mandel's /Linktree/ Mark Mandel.
You would. I think you would. Yeah.
That's brilliant. All right, let's have a look. All right, let's run that now. Let that run in the background. How's your stuff going?
Yeah, actually, let me switch over because I'm structuring my prompt in a way that I think it's very unclear to people that there are a lot of services out there in the world that are just a well-crafted prompt, right? Like just taking data from clever sources and combining them into a well-made prompt can really be like a whole service on its own. So it is worth spending time and attention, getting a prompt to do as much work as you can for you. So I'm just saying generate a dot diagram depicting a word cloud of the most used words for each speaker across the season, given the following data. This may be too much, but I want to back down to a reasonable prompt rather than under prompt and have to do more work myself.
So what, you want to include all the data in there as well? Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. I'm gonna say episode 1, and then I'm gonna drop the list of words, and then I'm gonna like combine all of them like that,
and then do a big copy paste and move it all across,
and then put the whole prompt into the free format.
Yeah. So you should have. I mean, that should be fine.
Yeah, and like this is not like I wouldn't consider this like a hacky way to go about it. I'd say like even if I was doing something programmatic.
Did you miss a closing bracket?
I might. I'm actually just on plain text for this. The format.
Okay, that's fine.
But it did get indented once. That's interesting.
I guess something looks weird.
Anyways, episode 3, and I'm just dropping the words in because the prompts are actually the same, but I did want to have them around in case we need them later.
Oh. Okay, I need to ask you a question while you're copy pasting.
Yes, go for it.
What were the names of your characters?
Mine was Carrot Cake. That is amazing, and the cook is there. Okay, and yes, that is fascinating, and I think it's correct because the first thing that happened was I stole some veggies from the cook's garden. He came out and yelled at me,
right?
And then Jennifer's character Elbereth came and kind of rescued me from the cook, and then the three of us went to the inn and had an interaction. So that is interesting that it picked up on that. That
is cool.
That is really cool.
Oh,
now I want to feed it all kinds of different media and see if it can. I want to see, like, for TV shows, if it could map out the like relationships between characters.
Work out like who talked to whom, and where did they go, and
yeah.
So I just had this wacky idea that could be kind of fun, and I have no idea how it would go. But like, take yourself like an Agatha Christie or some sort of like murder mystery kind of thing where you're trying to work out who the murderer is.
Yes.
Cut the end off where they do the solving at the end, and then shove the whole thing in and try and visualize what's going on and see if Gemini can actually like resolve who was eventually murdered.
That would be fun, actually.
Just gonna, IP restrictions and that kind of stuff. Something that is in public domain, that would be ideal.
We'll just play a nice free game of Clue.
Yeah, play a game, like record a game of Clue or something.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a terrible idea because something like a game of Clue is a logical progression. You're working your way through it and trying to work out, like, you're ticking off the boxes and that kind of stuff. So it would be interesting to see how the logical progression sort of worked and see if you could, even if it couldn't work it out, it could be like, oh, I know from talking to you that like this, they had to have been the only person who could have been there is the butler with the hammer in the kitchen or something.
Right. It would deduce from the, like, what couldn't have been.
Yeah. Or at the very least, you could diagram it out to see it properly.
Yeah. Okay. Can I show you the output of
Do it. Let's go.
So I have, this may be too much of an ask, but we'll see. We're going to find out. We're going to poke and prod and see if it's right. So I'm asking it to generate a dot diagram depicting a word cloud of most used words for each speaker across the whole season, given the following data. I have all of the text data from the video understanding of each episode.
Nice.
And, it's possible that this won't be what we'd like. Maybe we should use another format, but that's what the free format editor is for. So now I don't even need to pass in the video. I've already done all the pre-processing to get it.
Done all the work.
We're down to just 2,500 tokens.
Easy tokens.
So it should be. Oh, actually, I could use Flash for this too. But
you could have. But you know what? I want, when I'm always erring on accuracy and I don't care about time, I would go Pro over Flash.
That is fair. Yeah. We want better understanding here, and I'm curious how much better Pro would do than Flash for something like this, where the prompt you just asked was like relationships between characters that are being spoken about but never appear on screen. That's like a deep understanding task. But it did pretty well.
Something. All right, so this is. I'm very curious to see what this actually has.
Yeah.
Do you need me to? If you look up GraphViz online.
Yeah, I'll look it up here. GraphViz, because it seems like it gave me 2 graphs.
There's an online. If you search for GraphViz online, there we go. That'll do it.
Oh no, subgraphs. Okay, so maybe we're okay.
Find out. Oh, something happened. I think you can zoom in using your scroll wheel. There we go. And drag and drop.
Interesting. So Lauren never appeared, but "the" apparently was her most used words.
Oh, so it's sized it by. It's not that. It's not really a word cloud, but it's close. It's close-ish.
Not a word cloud, but it kind of fits. It kind of. It kind of like, how do I do this inside dots? Yeah. Interesting. And it's not ordered. So that's weird. Like we have like and then 2.
But it is sized.
It is sized. Like each.
Yeah, so the text is sized by each person.
I said image 136 times.
36 times. There you go.
This season.
You could potentially ask it like don't group it by person, but
no, that's interesting. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, but I think you'll still just get a giant rectangle because it's the easiest thing that dots can do.
I love it.
Dots is very good for very particular things.
Yep, and I knew this was a bit of an odd use case for dots, but
yeah.
I did want to see how it would do, and it
delivered in a way.
It gave us something very interesting. It's like in ways that I would not like. I don't think any person would order like size the elements by frequency, but not order them. So that's just, it feels very like art project rather than data diagram. That said, I wonder how effective it would be to like offer tweaks to say like this is good, but that'd be more of like a chat bot use case. But being able to say like make this change.
Yeah,
this is something you can take
context over time.
Yeah, you could even take something like this, since we have this much more portable token limit. You could take it to another model that your company's already using. You could take it to like a web-based chatbot, do something with it there. So it also offers you more portability once you've kind of pre-processed the data you actually care about.
I'm just impressed. We're just playing with dots at this point.
We are. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that's fun. What can we do with this? Okay, so is there a particularly hard problem where it is going to be much harder to break down the videos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say in that episode, the same one that you're talking about here.
Oh, the D&D one? Yeah.
Yeah, we had like, well, okay, that's a different class of problem. We kind of like we showed flashes of our characters, like the actual character sheets.
Oh yeah.
And so I wonder if it would actually know, like if it would be able to infer from that episode, like which, like it's much more.
Give me the stats on each
like
D&D character was created by each person that was in this game.
And you could even go a step further and say which character would be the most appropriate for a stealth check.
Oh, and provide and choose which one out of the set would be the most appropriate for a stealth check. All right. So it's going to have to find it in the video, work out the text, see what it is, interpret it, understand D&D rules apparently, and then come back with some sort of answer.
Yeah, that honestly might be a bit of a tall
a bit, yeah.
The other one I was thinking is like we end on a cliffhanger. We end on like a tune in next time to see what happens.
Yeah.
That would be like a creative writing exercise to see what is likely to happen next. I really am. I'm fighting the urge to just keep playing with Dot here. I will be tweeting something about what it generated us with Dot.
I should have saved. I should have saved that query with the whole dot thing. I didn't.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oops. Oh well, that's fine. I still have the graphics stuff.
Perfect. If you could, yeah, we'll definitely leave that window, and I'll take a screenshot of that and tweet that too. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to touch on was caching, and how, especially with video requests, where you're talking about high token count payloads, or like amounts that you're passing, amounts of data you're passing in, being able to like cache a prompt or cache a request that has a lot of video context on it,
yes,
could save you a lot of time in trying to pull deeper understanding out of that.
So, yes, I am now actually wondering if the media is being cached. I've forgotten which Australian accent I'm using right now. Is being cached between calls, and that's why we're not seeing as big a quota usage. Because I've definitely used this thing programmatically and seen quota usage kind of blow up. But here, this doesn't seem to be the case.
That's a very good question. I've seen that too, and I have a hunch. I haven't confirmed it myself, but I have a hunch that's what's happening. Because I've never been stopped while playing around in the freeform editor, but I have been stopped by quotas on the command line.
Hey, do those stats look about right?
Oh, let me see this. Yeah, I mean, stealth range. Okay, yeah, because Chasm was a bard. I would probably be the stealthiest. I had most of my stats in Dex.
You are a ranger. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that is probably right.
What is a half elf doing with a stealth of 1? That feels.
Well, she was a cleric, like almost one of the clerics, almost a paladin, heavy armor and all that.
Got it.
So yeah, that is
fair enough.
Yeah, that would explain it.
Carrot cake would be the best choice. Okay, that's kind of ridiculous.
Impressive.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought for sure it would see the stats, but then fall down on which one matters.
Yeah, I did technically ask it for like all the stats, but
oh, true, you did.
It did, but still, I'll take it. I will take it.
Interesting. And I think this is also a good chance to remark on how much this has changed. In the first season, we asked Duet like for the project ID of the project we were working on, and it wasn't able to pull it out of like the context.
Oh yeah, that's going great time.
Now it feels like we're in a whole different world with like the models we're playing with and how much it can kind of soak up from the ether, the request, just what it has on hand.
Yeah,
it is remarkable.
But yeah, you want to talk about caching?
I did. Now, do I actually have a plan for how to show off caching and how to prove that it's caching our responses?
Yeah,
not so much, but maybe that's something we can figure out live here. Now,
just looking at that quota, it's usually it's actually, I find that the easiest way of being like, okay, am I completely blowing up Vertex? And so far it's like fine. This is what is it? It's deployed custom. I don't even. It's like it's not even showing up. CRUD requests per minute per region. Like it's nothing.
And you know what? I am seeing on the pricing page that input pricing is free of charge.
Right.
So it is really just would be our processing.
Yeah.
And we are doing prompts larger than 128,000 tokens.
Yeah. Oh, this is my custom model. That's just some fun stuff I had in the background. But it looks like it's this pretty much because we're using US Central 1. That's where I'm doing my stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
this is just a CRUD request, but there was like a per token.
There should be it would be for requests, it would be per token, and then for caching, it would be per token an hour.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing it. Oh,
Not
it's
seeing
like it could be anywhere down here. Okay.
Well, but it's sorted by usage, isn't it? So the most used should be
true, and so it's not even close.
Not ranking. Do you mind if I steal the spotlight here?
Go for it. I'll see
Just
if I
to
can
kind of
find it. Yeah, go for it.
What I was talking about for caching here. So, yeah, on the pricing page for Gemini, input pricing is free of charge, which it's worth factoring in when you're trying to test out an idea. You don't want to blow up your company's building cycle. So, yeah, inputs would be free of charge, but when you're talking about like pay-as-you-go prompt prices, $2.50 for 1 million tokens, and importantly, caching is based on the lifetime of the data. So how long you keep it in memory, how long you keep it usable is what racks up the price. And so if you needed to have, a high amount of tokens available per user request, you could make them available for a short amount of time to keep the pricing per hour down. That would be my approach, at least. And so rather than being, $2.50 to do a 1 million token prompt, like what we're doing here, you could pay $4.50 to keep that same like hashed input in caching for an hour and have it reused by many prompts. So however many requests you can fit in an hour, as long as you can get more than 2, you're saving billing. Good to know. Just an example of like how much caching can save you. We can go back to you doing your.
I'm trying. Where are we?
Quota prompt engineering.
Quota prompt engineering. I'm trying to see if I can get this filter out. I don't know if I can. It's all right. So okay, so I've got to generate quoted input tokens per minute per base model. I'm just trying to find, where are we? We are central.
Yes.
On this page. Me central, US central 1. Oh, that's Flash. That's not useful. I need Pro. Let's go next page, maybe. What happened? 156. Yes, US central Pro. There's like nothing. That seems very low. But also, if it's cached it and we've been using it for the last 20 minutes, it would have disappeared already, because it is per minute per region.
Per minute per region. I don't think it would stay around for long.
Yeah, it would actually disappear pretty fast. Whereas I've absolutely done it where I've pulled in. What were we doing? We were pulling in, like I did this with Jennifer. Jennifer and I did this when we did on a previous live stream, where we were pulling an entire code base, for example, and then processing it and like calculating tokens and doing it over and over and over again. And we hit quota limits like every time.
Wow. But you were doing it on command line, right?
Yeah, we were writing code to do it. Basically, is how we were doing it. Because it was way easier. Because we built out, basically, we scraped all the code, made a massive prompt, and handed that off as part of the prompt.
Okay. Well, I guess that's another reason to do a lot of your prototyping in the AI Studio.
It's clever. Either that or just be aware, like, where are we? Vertex Gemini, that's what we want. So, GenAI. So, I had actually played with it myself. Where are we? Types. Where's my client? Here we go. This is what I was playing with. Vertex AI client. Let's see all our functions. So you can create cached content, and have that be a thing that you could do stuff with, and specify like when you want to expire.
Interesting.
Where are we? So if we created cached content, can we create cached content? We have a cached content to pass in. All right, so we can pass in, I'm pretty sure what's the word I'm looking for? Passing the expiration, that can get passed in.
TPL.
Yeah. Give it a name. I don't know what that is. Mutable. Interesting.
And I like how quasi first party this is. I guess it's right in the library for Go. I haven't actually interfaced with the Java.
I would expect similar.
Yeah, I haven't really used it, but probably.
I'm willing to bet. So you can delete cached content by name. Makes sense. Generated model from cached content, passing in. Oh, that gives you a new, interesting, gives you a new model based on the cached content.
Yeah.
If you have the model, that's the object you can then call stuff on. Oops, I don't need the code. That was too much.
As a warning here, if somebody is going to use content caching for Gemini, since we saw those pricing numbers, I would prioritize doing something like asynchronous, like either adding a message to a queue, setting up a Cloud Run afterwards to definitely evacuate the cache when you're ready, or if you want to have the TTL.
I would always set a TTL of some kind. I think that just makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Because you can also do, I assume, let's have a look. I go back to my client, for example. Like there is a get cached content. I'm going to assume that it returns nil if it doesn't exist. So you may have a system in place that's like, okay, if the cached content's there, great. If it's not, give me something else with it.
Right.
Because you might be, interestingly, so this is an interesting thing that I just kind of want to point out. I don't know if it's the same in other languages, but say I'm just going to use Gemini. It's the easy example. We're not going to say like hosting on Hugging, like, pulling in like Gemma or something from Hugging Face or whatever else. But say I'm like, okay, so if I was using this, I would say, give me a client that points at Vertex that provide like which project I'm on and which location I want to use, that kind of stuff. And I specify the generative model name. So, something like Gemini 1.0 Pro or Gemini 1.5 Pro, and it goes in here and it gives me this generative model object. The generative model object is the thing that I can say like predict or generate content, or like, I think that's pretty common number, not names from there. But if we want to do cached content, the actual way that it does that is you create a generative model from the cached content.
Oh, interesting.
Which is an interesting model. So, which I thought was quite interesting. Now, one thing I am not sure about that I'm seeing here as well is like, if I have multiple pieces of cached content, what do I do then?
It seems like you would need
Can I do that?
It seems like you would need to query. You'd need to like get each piece of cache content before. And so I guess like in the iterator, when I'm doing it, I would instantiate a new model for each one of them. At least in Java, I know that like in a, in like a Spring Bean context, there's no need for me to keep instantiating the same objects that are already there. So I would just be re-registering the client with the same bean. So it wouldn't be wasteful, like computationally. It would just be.
I think the way I'm understanding this, if I'm reading this correct, and I think I am, is you essentially can create a model off a singular cached content name. Think of it like a key, but within that cached content, you could have multiple parts, which I've seen that used in a bunch of places. Like if you're using Gemini, like multiple things, you could be like. Actually, well, I'll step you through just. So if I look at cached content as an object, you'll see it has like a contents.
Yeah.
Each of this has a content. Each type has a role. You'll see that a bunch. You'll see like either user or model. So if you're caching content, it'll be user because you're the one providing it. It's like the information you're passing in. Model is usually what comes back. And then each is a series of parts. Parts is a interface. And you'll see then that this is where you get into, right, like, is it text data? Is it binary data? Is it file data? You could have different types of things. So you could have one cache block that has some text data, and then you could have one cached piece of thing that has a part that's some text data, then a part that's pointing to a YouTube URL, another part that's pointing to a storage bucket, for example, another part that's just straight up binary. I assume that's what you can do with a blob, right? So you can put that all together, but it does mean that you have to pre-package the whole chunk together in one go before you want to create your model from there. And like, do generative work, you can't be like, grab me this cache content and this cache content and this cache content
Yeah.
and stick it all together. That doesn't work.
That's fair. You just got to do it all statically. That
Yeah.
is a very familiar concept. You can't dynamically instantiate cached content or generative models from cached content. Or at
So
least you couldn't in one pass. I guess you could iterate through it, but it's interesting. Yeah.
terrible idea.
Yes.
Vertex as an in-memory cache, just for like a database or something. Just cause.
Interesting.
Probably a really bad idea.
The most expensive possible way to implement it.
I don't probably, like, I'm fairly sure Redis would be a whole lot cheaper, but the parts are all there is all I'm saying.
You could do it. You could do it. You could absolutely do it.
So, I'm not saying it's a good idea. Don't take my advice, but you could.
It's like using a mail API as a hard drive. It's technically possible.
It's technically possible. But like that's not a bad little model.
Interesting. Okay. No, that makes more sense now that we step through the objects.
Yeah. Or you can set. Oh, interesting.
And that really does not limit you, because you could have a blob of any type. You could just kind of you'd need to serialize and deserialize the content, but you could have any file type you want.
Oh, this is weird. You could apparently you could also do this as well. I was just reading the code, like the thing at the top. This is just random stuff that's just kind of interesting. Here we go, generative model. I didn't actually say it, but if you look at generative model, one of the other ways you could do it is you could create a generative model and go in and edit the cached content name manually. So which is an exported value. And assuming that exists, I'm going to guess it would fail if it wasn't there.
Interesting.
That is interesting in that you could have a model that you're calling a lot that you've specified, like here's my model object, and like change the cached content on that model without having to recreate that object over and over again. I'm going to assume it's pretty low key to create this generative model, but if you were iterating on that, that might be another way of just doing that. I don't know.
Might be less wasteful. Yeah. I wonder. Is it mutable though? Like after calculation, it is. Okay.
Yes. So Go is this wonderful language where if it's capitalized, it's public. That's just how that works.
Perfect.
Not a bad thing, just is. So yeah, that is mutable. We don't really have immutable things inside Go, so you can't be like, you can't touch that. Sorry, no. Or like read-only stuff. It's just not a thing. So.
All right. Well, interesting. Many ways to go about it. I do want to show you something.
Yes, go ahead.
I
think I've beat this horse to death. I think we're good.
Fair enough. I was not able to resist the urge. I ended up asking it to tweak the dot prompt, or the dot output for a little bit more, to make it a little bit more readable.
Totally random. Why is your color?
It's because I'm on Canadian.
You're Canadian. I'm Australian. I was like very excited that colors was like. It was like you misspelled colors.
Yes.
So that made me very happy. Okay.
And it did correct me.
And then I remember the fact that you're in Canada. Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yes. But yeah, I asked it to actually include different colors for each frequency of each word, and I actually plopped that into GraphViz here, and it's better.
Oh, that's nice.
It's better. I think this is what we're going to be sharing out for the output here. So this is at least for our first season. And I think there's a lot of like possibility to, like, I wonder if we could do this. I could probably even do this in one step and have it like, take the transcript of a video and do like offer output like this off of one step. But I'm happy with this. I'm going to download this. This one is one for the books. That's all I wanted to say.
I just wanted to, like, I was just looking at the HTML tables that thing generated throughout there. That is just like giving me vibes of like late 90s, early 2000s HTML web pages. That's just like how we did it. But like, if it works, it works, right?
It works. It did ignore one of my instructions. I said use blue for the least used.
Oh, like a gradient.
Yeah, and it didn't. It just said red to white. And that's okay. That's close enough. It saved me the trouble of having to learn the context or the syntax for dot. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, can't complain about that. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Hit the save button.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Make sure. Yeah, because I forgot to save my dot. I'm sure I can rewrite it. It'll be fine.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, fun.
That was pretty good.
So hold on. Is it? And it gave us back the same answers again as we saw last time.
Yes, it actually did have the same. Well, I mean, it's pulling all the data from.
It's true.
Yeah, from prepared the pre-processed data. So
yeah,
that's a good way to actually hold like ensure correctness. Like, don't have it interpret what's the right answer. Just say here's the actual data. I've already done the work. And then it's much easier to kind of iterate on look and feel of your output. And yeah.
It feels very reminiscent of like what I've done in the past, which is like, here's my HTML, make it look pretty.
Yes.
With like Gemini Code Assist especially.
That has been a helpful way to go about it. I do actually want to see. Yeah, I'm tempted to compare it between different to see if Flash does a better job. Yeah. Or I could even use public Gemini, like the non-cloud console one.
Blam. That was fast.
That was really fast.
And
it's completely different as well.
It's so good. There you go. Oof. All right. Do you know I've totally missed that copy to clipboard button that's on the right-hand side?
Yeah, but it does the entire output.
It does.
Actually, that is right in this case. It didn't offer any preamble or
Oh, that is.
Nope, it did offer it provided the output in Markdown, so it gave me a dot. Like
I've seen that.
Box around it. Okay.
Oh, it gave you your blue though.
Yeah.
It's not as nice though.
No, and I think it's a little confused. Flash didn't quite understand what I was asking for. It gave you two names.
Yep.
And it didn't order them as I'd liked. So, okay. Pro takes the cake.
Pro is pro.
Yep.
Which is fair.
But it is another option.
That works.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Anything else you wanted to cover?
I was going to say we've got about 13 minutes left. Do we want to think about what we have done over this season? Is there anything we want to like be able to dig up ourselves since we have the Gemini application here that we're like, okay, what is like our favorite thing? Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do something. So you know how it seemed to work with all of that stuff, like basically over 2 million?
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna take a minute, but let's take all of season 3, and I just want to see. I'm gonna try and make it break.
Right. See what happens when you go over. Fair enough.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's go. Let's blam. There we go. Now we're talking like 3 million. Let's keep going. Let's this is gonna take a while. So what did I do? That was 1, 2, 3. I wish there was a way to do multiple selection here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And yeah, that feature would have been very nifty if the episodes were ever under 1 million, then it could have done 2 at the same time. But
what is the main takeaway of this? All these videos are from a single season of this single season. Okay. What is the main takeaway that you can find from gather across all these? The main takeaway that you can gather that is present across
all episodes.
Videos. If that actually works, that would be quite impressive.
That would be fantastic.
All right, go on then.
It would require, understand or like taking each one and processing the same prompt against it. Maybe it can.
I mean, there's a certain intelligence behind it that I don't know how that would work, but it could just be like, oh, these are videos. You're asking me a question about content. Cool. I'm going to take it and grab all the transcripts for each one of them, do that work, keep the transcripts in memory, look at each one of those, or like the transcripts and maybe some other like visual descriptions, I guess, or just turn it into text basically.
Yeah.
And then process it that way. It hasn't stopped yet.
That's I would expect it to especially in 40 seconds to butt up against the limit and kind of stop you, but hasn't yet. I'll take that as a good sign.
So there's some interesting takeaways there where just because you get a count limit, does that matter?
Maybe not.
Maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe that's something we should actually query.
And if this does work, then we can take all kinds of interesting questions, maybe from the audience, things you want to like, insights you want to pull out of the episodes.
So if I'm gonna, how much input you can provide, how much output the model can generate, size the context when using the API, or looking at the model's documentation. Token limit, output token limit, tokenized, blah, blah, blah. Which is not the input and the input only. It's cool.
While you actually search for this, I do want to create one more thing.
Go for it.
So another approach that we could have taken there is for the roll-up prompt that I was doing, where I already had my information from multiple different kind of pre-processing queries. The approach that I did was kind of the most straightforward, easiest to carry forward between like different languages, different environments. Just put it all in one big text prompt, a couple thousand tokens.
Yep.
Very straightforward, very portable. Another thing you can do, especially in the freeform editor, is you can define variables. You can open up this add variable window, or you can manage your variables freeform. And you can say, okay, episode 1 is all of this data.
What is this?
Episode 2 is all of this data. So that offers another way for you to kind of take this information and ask Gemini about it. You can say, how many more times was the most commonly used word in episode 2 said the most common word in episode 1? And it understands. It has that context. It says episode 1, it was 18. Episode 2, it was 60. So the answer is 42. Just like with everything else.
Now, this variable, I've never seen anything like variables in terms of like the API for Gemini. Have I missed that? Is that?
Or
is this some more cached content somehow? Or
no.
Like,
I think variables are a concept. Like you can pass them in as config. I think so. Honestly, I may be mixing up LangChain with Gemini in my head. There is a concept of parameters like that in LangChain from when I've noodled around with it, but I'm not actually sure if that's also a base Gemini API thing.
Or just everything. Like, does everything have? What is that? Well, actually, click get code.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Variables. So you can pass it in as the prompt with the prompt. So it's a real concept. It's
a real thing. It's a real thing.
Very, very cool.
Well, I'll be. So when you said episode 2 as well, was it turning around and saying, okay, I have a variable named episode_2. That is the same thing as what's in the variable?
Yes, I believe so. It seems to have the understanding from me. I didn't even say, like when I typed episode 2, I said episode_2, capital E. Didn't do that in the question. I just said episode 2, and it still tied that to the correct field and value. That said, when I clicked get code, this may be a thing with the get code button. It may just not like be a detail I'm focusing on too much, but it points these both at the same text bar, which is not correct. These are talking about different episodes.
Yep.
So I would just double check that it's talking about the variable that you're interested in when you're pulling this out for use in other language. But yeah, another thing to know about.
Now I'm trying to work out how to do this in Go. This is making my brain.
Yeah, and while you're working that out, the refine prompt button is something that I also meant to touch on here. It really can help you like nail down a better prompt. There have been times where I am like working on a service and I know that there's more I can put into the prompt, but I'm just having trouble coming up with suggestions. I've asked chatbots in other situations, but this window actually gives you some good suggestions. Shows your old, shows your new, and allows you to apply.
That's right. I forgot about that too. That is also really handy.
Yeah, so these are more kind of like creative writing type prompts, but you can take your original prompt. You can say, I want a response that's more like movie critic, and have it generate a prompt for me from there, and then it'll just it'll apply and run it for me. So it just gives you a lot of time. It saves you a little bit of like friction, a little bit of effort. Oh, it took the movie critic and ran with it.
Oh, look at that.
It gave the first
shifts dramatically. The second episode, the Kubernetes conductor shifts dramatically.
Hold on, where did he even get that? Because we didn't.
It probably made it up.
Yeah, it probably did make it up, but
yeah,
it only included cluster, node, local, and from that it inferred that it was about Kubernetes, I guess.
Fascinating. Here, I'll show you something fun. It did blow up.
It blew up.
It did blow up. So what is interesting here is it does say like the input token count is actually about 5 million, whereas it says about 8 million on the AI Studio. So I'm not sure what the discrepancy there is, but it is interesting to know.
It seems to be dicing up the request in some way, but not infinitely.
So it's entirely possible. When we saw previously, it was like 2.2 million. Maybe it was a little less, or the way it was processing it was okay, or maybe you're just living on the edge a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if this like ratio holds, maybe it reduced it down to 1.1 with whatever method it's using.
Yeah.
I wonder if you submitted a 4 million token request, if it would say, yeah, okay, you're right around 2 million somehow. But that's okay. I think it's good that it gave you a 400. That is actually a usable error. Clear error message in the console.
Yep. It's like telling you, hey, you messed up. Sorry, bad
input. Yeah.
Yeah. You gave me the wrong thing. You shouldn't have done that. That was silly.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, actually, yeah. Still waiting to see some quota usage.
No, we've passed conservatively 10 million tokens.
Either that or I'm querying the wrong thing, which is possible. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. 0.2%. There you go. There it is. That's your Central. That's Pro. Okay. Cool. Well, it is 4 million per minute or something, so we're not using that much.
No, and I wonder. A lot of things in Google Cloud are eventually consistent. I wonder if it takes an hour and a half to update.
Quota, I feel like not necessarily. I've absolutely done it where I've really when you've got a command line client too, and you're just like, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. I have come up against that limit, I feel.
No, yeah, I've been stopped, but I wonder if the console just takes a while to update the value. But it's pretty quick with billing stuff. I wouldn't think that it would take that long. Anyways, interesting.
All right, Aaron. This is the conclusion of our season.
Yeah. Our third, and I'm going to say favorite season. I feel like it gets better every time.
The more time I get to spend with you, the better, as far as I'm
concerned. Exactly.
Exactly.
We brought in some great.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I know that I smile more than you do because we've checked, and that's acceptable.
The data
is there, but it's okay.
Well, that's good. What can I say?
Favorite moment from this season?
It's got to be the D&D episode,
which I wasn't in. That's why it's your favorite episode. I understand.
A close second was the caching episode that we did with Jason. That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Or not so much caching. It was like 2 million tokens. Like what happens if you overrun it? Saw a lot of interesting edge cases there. Yeah,
Nice.
really hard to pick a single moment, but those are two great ones.
That's pretty good. I enjoyed the episode I did with Kaslin. Just sort of where we're doing a lot of cross-cutting like information about individual podcasts, as well as sort of just very concretely building out workflow items for her podcast, where she's like, I have to do a summary every week and I have to put together the show notes and list everything that's in a podcast and put it out. And we're like, here's a prompt.
Yeah.
Pretty much does it for you. Sweet. Just getting some of that drudgery work out of the way, that toil, which I thought was super nice.
And that is the whole point of this.
Yeah.
I do also want to call out a question from the chat here from Andrew Burnett. It could be that 5 million token overrun or limit overrun was because one video was too long. Although no videos were 5 million, I wonder if the combination of two videos was exactly the amount that we hit for the requested.
Maybe. I will say I've seen errors that were quota errors, and they do show up differently than just like, hey, you've gone above and beyond what our context window is. Usually it says like resourcing, like you get a resource exhausted or whatever it's called, and you get that. So it is, you do get a different error for that for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good question.
But yeah, good question. Thanks for that. And yeah, it's been great. Mark?
Pleasure as always. Fantastic.
I'm gonna see you next season. And
I was gonna say, Aaron, if people want to find you on the social medias and like keep up to date with us, where can they go?
Yes. Honestly, find me on LinkedIn. I'm most responsive there.
Cool.
Second best is Twitter. So you can go ahead and follow me at Aaron MW. Other than that,
yeah, unsurprisingly, all my stuff is literally right below my name on that link tree. I'm on stuff. I'm on a whole bunch of stuff. Find it on the stuff.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so, and the audience, of course, you
Pleasure.
are like, thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next season. Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for tuning in.
See you later.
See ya.